Hey everybody, Tim Dwyer here. How you doing? Well, yes, the hourglass is ticking away, and it is not going to stop, unfortunately. Time is ticking, and you and I have still got work to do. I'm sorry the land of milk and honey is not here just yet. All right, I know they're still, saying that, oh, look at this, that's slowed down, this is good, that's good. No, no, no. The enemy is still hard at work. Don't you worry about that. even though the WHO called an end to the worldwide pandemic on the eve of the coronation, which most people missed, but officially the pandemic is over. I don't think it ever started. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Hey guys, here we go. It's time to release the hounds on the mares of every council in Australia. And I am going to go through that letter in a minute. And then later on in this video, I'm going to also show you how, if you want, you can order one of the Quick and Garran annotated versions of the 1901 Constitution, which is a direct replica reprint of an original. Okay, so there's that, and another little bit on the back as well. You'll see that at the end of the video. Firstly, I got some serious questions to ask you. And I know I say it all the time, but this video is possibly not meant for you who is watching it. It's meant for you to hand on to as many other people as you possibly can. Question. My dear friends, how many times would you allow your child to lie to you without there being some sort of correction or punishment? Once, twice, probably not 3 times, I wouldn't imagine. And if you did, more fool you. Well then, how many times?
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Would you seem to think it was okay for your child to steal money from you? I'm not talking 20 cents. I'm saying $100 bills. How many times would that be acceptable in your book? Keep in mind, you as a parent have to teach the children what is right and what is wrong, and understand that bad behavior has a consequence, right? If you get caught stealing or lying or whatever, there's a consequence to your actions. Oh, well, they could steal a car, perhaps. Would you get cross at them then? Of course you would. Not only that, you'd be very disappointed, but you would want to correct the situation. You see, how much fraud is acceptable to you, the Australian people, from the people that you employ to run the business of Australia? How much fraud is acceptable? And how much? For me, it's 0. You know, how much deceit is acceptable from those who we have on our payroll running this country? I would say 0. You know, one of the things we have to figure out is this, that every member of state and federal parliament are stealing money blindly out of your pocket every day. They are lying to you every day, not just on little matters, on matters that will literally change the course of history. And still you go, oh, who won the footy on Saturday? Oh, I've got to watch the cooking show. Oh, come on, people. Truly, if that's your level of interest in this country, then I tell you what, we're doomed. We will be run by the Chinese Communist Party and the UN faster than you can say Jack Splat. Fair dinkum. Anyway, just wanted to get those questions out there, see how you go with those, give them some thought. And, just another thing, Corinne and I went down to Beachport and down to Mount Gambier and had a great couple of nights down there, met some wonderful people and went through some of this stuff. And man, oh man, hasn't people come alive. The first meeting we had down at Beachport, we only had 6 people down there. On Wednesday night when we were down there, we had 23, so that's good, and it's starting to grow. Mount Gambier, much the same, actually, a slightly bigger crowd, but there we go, and it's growing, and we'll be going back again shortly. Anyway, here we go. Let me share the screen with you and bring up my little PowerPoint as per normal, and here it is. The true warrior fights not because he hates the one in front of him, but because he loves those behind him. Ladies and gentlemen, we must keep fighting, not because we don't hate these people, we just have a great disdain for them, our government, the bureaucrats, the sellouts, but we love the people behind us. Behind us is the Australian people. The good and decent people of Australia, these are your lands, your home, your future. And if you want it back, you must become more than we have ever been before. We must become more than we have ever been before. We must become stronger, smarter, more intelligent, have more knowledge, and take more action. And speaking of such, this is our little logo. And the people said no implied consent, and then the tyranny stopped. No lawful oath, no lawful authority. Oh, and by the way, Alan Jones. Alan Jones was on his show talking about how the Prime Minister has not sworn a lawful oath. Oh, and by the way, in Tasmania, they've just realised that the judges and magistrates, none of them have sworn a lawful oath for 30 years. I wonder where they got that information from. I think the word is creeping out, people, that we do not have a legitimate government in this country. Moving right along. We all need knowledge that is truthful, lawful, and verifiable, ladies and gentlemen, because our act to constitute the Commonwealth of Australia is an act of the UK Parliament. Comes with it, because it is part of the UK Parliament. Comes with it is Magna Carta, that is law in Australia, and comes with it the English Bill of Rights of 1689, that is law in Australia. Now, it might be inconvenient for those who wear wigs and wear black gowns and can only talk to dead things, but it is law in this country. And the Magi who sits there confused, it is law in this country. So let's move right along here. The website we're going to be basing everything off here is OurTrueAustralia.com. Our True Australia. We are decent, proud, hardworking, visionary, kind and brave people from the 4 corners of the earth who have decided that we will no longer suffer the crimes of the corporation and the global elites. I've got to change that word elite, the global parasites, the global scum dwellers, the global dung beetles. That's him, the dung beetles. They are the dung beetles of the world. We are rock solid as a people. Now, the letter to the mayors. Boy, oh boy, I've been waiting for this one to come out. I really have. This is going to get exciting. You know, we've been getting a lot of responses from the CEOs saying that our document has no lawful content in it, and it's not this, and it's not that, and it's not anything else, which is standard for what happens when you hit them between the eyes, because they cannot rebut any part of any of that document. The first thing they do is call your names and tell you you're stupid and that doesn't work and this has no value. Oh, yes, it does. And when you get those responses, you hang on to them or you send them to me, because boy, we got a pile of them and they are out of their depth no end. They really are. So the letter to the mayors. Now, with this letter, please pay attention. With the letter to the mayor, once you've sent it to the mayor, you can change it from the mayor to a particular councillor. All right, in your council, and you can send it to them too. Just change everything that's in red, right? They're the change points. And so down here where it says to the mayor, the name of the mayor, to councillor, the name of the councillor, to councillor, name. So that's what we can do. So this one is going to go bonkers all through the councils. It will, and as I said, you can send this via email, via letter, ordinary mail, via express post, via registered mail. Send it any way you like. Take it in, hand deliver it into the offices. They're gonna get hit from the soles of their feet to the roof of their mouth with this one. So here we go. Dear Mr. Mayor, Mrs. Mayor, whoever you are, right? The old grey mayor. You are noticed the maximum of law. He who is silent appears to consent. One that stays silent asks for consent. It means that he or she is consenting. Otherwise, he or she should have retaliated. Now, this comes back to our implied consent. Remember what I said about implied consent. If you don't say no, you've already said yes. All right, and this is what we're putting on them. Aha. Oh, it'll come and bite them on the bum. Anyway, furthermore, within the universal maxims of law, notice to agent is notice to principal. Notice to principal is notice to agent. All addressee parties jointly, severally, and as well as their successors, nominees, and assignees. Everybody, literally, coming or going, is going to get hit with this letter. The mayor. Now, keep in mind, the mayor's had to take an oath. Dear Mayor, an oath, man or woman, of the king, that is the succession of the crown of the Protestant line, holding the seal of the Constitution Act 1900 UK. Now, here's why we've got that in there. We've just had the coronation, haven't we? Now, I don't know whether you watched it. I did. And I wanted to watch it to see what sort of things they put in and what sort of things they left out. And one of the things that they did not have done properly was under the coronation throne, where Charles sat on King Edward's throne, there's a shelf in there to hold the coronation stone. Now, they had something in there, and it was pink. Now, the coronation stone is grey. They did not have the coronation stone in there, so he wasn't properly coronated in accordance to the laws. But anyway, but it said in the coronation that it is of the Protestant line holding the seal of the crown. Now, the mayors and everybody else are taking their oath under the Australia Act to the Queen of Australia, the King of Australia, whatever. And they are legal fictions. They are just pieces of paper that Gough Whitlam and Bob Hawke created, along with the premiers of all the premiers at that time, to usurp the Constitution, to commit treason. And so we will move on from that bit. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole letter. It'll be up on the website shortly, and you will be able to read it. If you don't, once you've read it, if you don't agree with it, please don't send it. Don't send it. If you don't agree with it, don't send it. But if you do agree with it, man, send it. Share this out with all your friends. Share this video with as many people as you can and get them to send their letters to the mayor as well. Now, this is the summary of the letter. Okay, let's look at the summary of this. Dear Mayor, you are now on notice. Ignorance of the law is no excuse, and you can no longer act in good faith. You are now aware of the following. The Great Seal of Australia, granted on the 19th of September 1912, was unlawfully removed in 1973 in breach of the M1 Crown Office Act of 1877. The notice of quo warranto. We are entitled to request proof of authority from anyone claiming it over the people at any time. The people are under an indissoluble federal commonwealth relying on the blessings of Almighty God under the crown of the United Kingdom, Great Britain and Ireland, and under the Constitution hereby established. And this is mine and no other. You are now aware of the possible actions to be taken against you in the Crimes Act of 1900, Section 192E, fraud, 192E, fraud, a person who, by deception or dishonesty, remember what I asked about before, how much deception you would take, obtains property belonging to another, or obtains a financial advantage or causes any financial disadvantage, is guilty of the offence of fraud. Maximum penalty imprisonment for 10 years. Now that's 10 years per offence, and you'll read that in the letter itself. E, the Quick and Garum, page 795.1, onus of proof. There is no presumption in favour of the existence of a power. On the contrary, the burden of proof lies with those who assert its existence. They have to prove that they have the authority. In Pyrie versus Registrar General in 1962 High Court ruling, they've got that's in there. That's that is a very good thing for local governments and states. Absolutely no implied consent available from the sender, so you are not in any way giving them any consent above you. Above the corporate legal obligations, you have a moral obligation to the community you are paid to serve. All rights reserved without will, vexation, or probability. All right. Now, once we've done this, you download the document from ourtrueaustralia.com. You make the changes that are in red, and this is a document that we'll send to every council in Australia, right? And there's a list there of all the councils. If you go on there, you'll see the list of councils. And once you've sent this letter, could you please send an email to action@OurTrueAustralia and simply say sent, right? Simply say sent. Let me put it to you this way. If these mayors don't start resigning hand over fist, I'll be absolutely stonkered. All right. Now, you now have both the knowledge and the tools. Put them both into action. Having knowledge without action is a weakness. It really is. You've got all the knowledge. Why won't you act? And having the tools but refusing to use them makes no sense. Why would you not do that? All right. Think about it. Now, just so as you know, the elbow sleazy train is really pushing hard on this referendum. Now, let me put it to you this way. Against the law, again, by absolute bastardry of the law, the Albanese government has put $31 million of your money towards running the yes vote, to get the yes vote up. Now, the federal government is prohibited from swaying the vote either way, but they're spending $31 million. Well, we don't have $31 million, but I think we've probably got about 20 or 30,000 Australians who could probably send out 50 flyers each into letterboxes to say no. They're just saying. Anyway, if it gets a yes vote and it's carried, here's what's going to happen. All land in Australia will revert to native title. That's done. You will not own the land that you have actually paid for. Now, get this. We couldn't figure out why they were so hard in getting rid of your land's title out of the titles office, out of the banks where they've been held for safety reasons. Now they've been destroyed. You can't prove you own your land, but you paid for it. Your title's been destroyed by both the banks and the government, and you will be forced to pay rent on your land forever, and you will no longer have free access to the beaches or the rivers or the state forests. This must be stopped at all cost. And don't you worry, the councils will get in on the act and run the yes vote. We'll do more on that later. All right, here's the Quick and Garum, right? We're putting together another print run, and they're $185 each. And if you're interstate or can't pick them up from my place here in South Australia, it's $13 extra postage. All right. Now, to order these, please email cm@ourtrueaustralia.com. cm@ourtrueaustralia.com to order your Quick and Garant. All right. These are the tools. And these are our stickers to go on the cars, on the back window of your car. Now, they're about 23 centimetres long, 10 centimetres high, and they're $4 each. Now, they'll fit inside an ordinary envelope, a yellow envelope, which is a bit bigger than a normal envelope, but we can still get away with $1.20 postage. And whether you've got one or five, they'll all fit in there. Okay, so postage for that is just an envelope. It's $1.20. And to order these, again, please emails cm@ourtrueaustralia. And so it's beautiful. The red hand, stop. And the people said no implied consent. And then the tyranny stopped. No lawful oath, no lawful authority. And we must rise and rise again until the lambs among us understand it is right to become lions. We are at a point in time where, I've said it before, we must act and act lawfully, we must act responsibly, and we must act with the law on our side. And we have. We literally have. And by sending these letters, I know a lot of you don't get replies, and that's fine. As long as you send to me the notice that says you've sent it. We know then that the document has gone. Now, what the councils choose to do with it is irrelevant to you and I. It is irrelevant because we've all, please understand, this is a trap. This is a trap for the local government. We've already got everything we need on the other side of it. We just have to go through these processes and literally give them notice. And they're not paying attention to the notice. They're just sending stuff willy-nilly back, coming out with all sorts of weird-ass stuff. But they're falling into the trap. We've only got one more to go after this. All right? We've only got one more to go after this, and that'll be to the local government minister in each state. Then the trap's complete. Then we can go to work. This is the preliminary. This is the warm-up. But this has got to be done en masse, people, on absolute mass. You see, lies and thievery should not be acceptable to anybody. Deception should not be acceptable to anybody. Why do councils have meetings in private? So is it you, the ratepayer, can't get into the meetings? Here in South Australia now, they're trying to close off council meetings to the people who they're meant to serve. You're not allowed to go. This is insane. Why? What are they hiding? You got nothing to hide. Let us in. Show us everything. Oh no, can't do that. In actual fact, state governments are now telling us that their judges have had no oath sworn for 30 years. But they say it doesn't make any difference to the convictions. Yes, it does. It bloody does. Because they weren't sitting in a lawful office. They weren't legal doing what they were doing. So there's a lot to do there. We have a whole federal and state government who have not sworn a lawful oath. And some of the senators are saying, yes, we did swear the lawful oath, and then we went and signed the book. So they swear the lawful oath. That's correct. But then they don't sign that oath. They go and sign in the registry book that they said the oath. That has no weight at law. You signed the document that you gave the oath with. That's what you do. Plus, the person who is accepting your oath must have constitutional authority, must have. And if they are not there sworn in themselves lawfully under the lawful constitution, not the Australia Act, none of that bloody rubbish, then nobody's hearing, no lawful person is hearing the oath. There is so much to this. But you are the key. You are the key, ladies and gentlemen of Australia. If you don't fight back, you will not own your house. Well, you'll own your house, but you won't own the land it sits on, and you can't take the bloody house off it. You will pay rent forever. The United Nations will turn this place into a republic if we lose the voice. We have to bring the councils down, and we have to stop the voice. We got work to do, my friends. My name's Tim Dwyer. I will see you lovely people again soon. You have a great day.
The question that Australians will be asked at this year's referendum is a very simple one. It will read, a proposed law to alter the Constitution to recognise the First Peoples of Australia by establishing an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander voice. Do you approve this proposed alteration? That's the question before the Australian people. Nothing more, but nothing less. The people who stand with me on this stage, I regard as a great privilege to be standing with the giants of Australia. I don't know if I had their experience in life that I could be as generous and as modest in my request. I would like to think that I would be, but you can't stand in other people's shoes. This is a modest request. I say to Australia, don't miss it. Don't miss it.
You cannot touch our Constitution.
He divides people into four quadrants. The really smart ones are the people that help others and help themselves, right? That's the really smart class, right? The bandit class are the ones who basically hurt others and help themselves. That he calls those bandits. And then the third quadrant, those are the helpless. Those are the people that are always helping others, but then end up poor on the street themselves. He calls them helpless, right? They're the constant hero that doesn't take care of themselves, so they can't, and then there are the stupid people who hurt others and hurt themselves. Like, I'm going to vaccinate my child, right, on TikTok or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that's human sacrifice. That's human. You're destroying your child.